name is Tony Pacenski. I go by Professor Tony Pacenski. This is my wife, Camila Xavier, and we're going to shoot a video right now on how to use Jiu-Jitsu and martial arts principles in your life. When I teach Jiu-Jitsu a lot, I talk about how to learn the techniques, how to do the techniques, and then as the students get better, I start to talk about it's no longer about the techniques, it's what's behind the moves, what's behind the techniques that kind of expose you to the principles that can make your technique better. You can apply these principles in different aspects of your life. But this video, I really wanted to speak today to you about using martial arts and the ideas of principles for your life. So that really boils down to a nice narrative story that I had about 20 years ago when I was in England. And I never told this story publicly, and I wanted to share it with you because it kind of brings everything together. And it doesn't matter what martial art you practice or how well you feel you can adapt to change in your life when things happen. You really need to have these ideas, what I'm going to share with you right now. And we'll use the martial arts as the metaphor as well. So I'm 40 years old now, 41, 42, right, Camila? 41.
Wow.
41. So we're going to go back 20 years when I was 22 years old and I was in England, and it was my last night in England, and I was with friends, and they said, you know, we're going to go to a pub, and I said, that would be really cool, like, let me see this Irish or English pub. And we were with different people from the United States, from England, from Australia, and a lot of the guys that were with me at the time, they said, oh, we're going to go to the next club, we'll meet up with you, and I said, okay, cool. So I'm with a group of 4 girls at the table, and you can think about an English pub. There was a lot of drinking going on. So we're sitting at the table, the 3 girls, myself, and then there was a bunch of other English, British drinkers or patrons at the time. So I went over to the jukebox, of course, and I started to put my money in the jukebox, and I started to figure out what song I wanted to play, and I remember I wanted to play like Bob Marley or something like that. And I could hear the conversation with the girls talking to the guys, and I kind of looked over and I saw like there was something going on, like maybe like an argument or something like that, or it was getting intense. So I signaled over to my friend, I said, do you want me to go over there? And then they're like, no, you don't worry about it. So I went back and I kind of figured out the song, and next thing I know, I heard the words, Tony. So
It was a girl.
It was a bunch of girls, yeah, but I was with other people. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's the story. It's 20 years ago.
Okay.
All right. So I can tell the story very PC, but yeah, it was a real thing, and I heard my name, and then I got over there, and I had to think about what to do right on the spot, and I looked at the table, and it was a bunch of guys, and I was thinking to myself, I wasn't even thinking. I just took action, and in hindsight, if we would have went outside just like that to get into a fight, these guys would have literally killed me. It would have been my last night in England, and they probably would have stabbed me, hit me with bottles. It was kind of like that type of environment. So I immediately get over to the table, and I pull the one girl that was like a friend out, and I sat down right next to this big guy, and we're sitting just like this, and I'm kind of like engaged. I'm not being aggressive, I'm not being passive, I'm like, and the guy sits, I sit down next to him, he goes, Tony, like that. He mocks me once again. And I go, what's going on, guys? Like that. And he's like, oh, American, another American. He starts making fun of me as an American. And I said, oh, and I just started talking to him. I said, oh, what's going on? You guys want me to get you some drinks? And I just went into, let me just connect to this person and try to de-escalate the situation. And I'm thinking, if we go outside, they want to fight in this bar, or outside, I'm going to get killed. All of my guy friends had left to another club. So as I'm saying, like, you know, can I buy you a drink? I'm trying to de-escalate the situation. The guy's saying, oh, American. And he started saying slang like, you pissing on me. And I said, I don't even know what that means, guys. On my last night in the pub. Like, and he's like, oh, Americans, I hate Americans. So he was going higher and higher. And he's like, I said, why do you hate Americans? Oh, I don't like your politics. And I'm thinking, oh my God. Meanwhile, I'm kind of like nudging the person next to me, the girl. I'm like, we got to get out of here. So things kind of like settled down, like it went up and then it went down, and I was like, okay, well, I just want to enjoy my last night, we're going to get out of here, and we just got out of there. We got up and we walked away. And when we got outside, the girl, she said, Tony, that was amazing what you did. Like, I saw everything that you did, I felt it, and thank you for, you know, like stepping in and taking her out of that situation and then putting myself as a shield. But when I look back at it, of course, I could have been killed, I could have been stabbed. Now, if I would have escalated the situation, tried to take the guy and go outside and try to prove that I'm better than him. And I was very knowledgeable in martial arts at the time, but it didn't matter in that situation. But I had the presence of mind. I positioned myself. I got down, I connected to the person, and then with leadership, I just had options to get out of there. At the whole time, of course, I'm looking at the table, I'm looking at the guy's hands, I'm doing everything that I can just to have that awareness. And I never used any martial arts techniques, but I used so many techniques and so many principles there. And that was a big thing that we have to do in our lives. When something comes at us in a stressful way, it's a metaphor for change. And we have to be able to overcome it some way. And in martial arts, we have techniques that we show, but there has to be more than that. So I wanted to show and teach a technique that we learned in the first class in Jiu-Jitsu from Brazil. And it's the idea that someone's bigger and stronger than you, and they push you down. And hopefully you don't get hurt, or maybe the person's standing over top of you, and the idea is you need to stand back up. Because you can't be down there on the ground. You got to stand back up so you can do a technique, hopefully get out of there. And I want you to see what we're doing, and I want you to keep thinking about that. I want you to think about having presence of mind, and that right positioning is like the first thing. I want you to see how important connection is, to be connected. And then at the end, having the ability to lead the person, the aggressor. And hopefully you didn't hurt yourself, you didn't hurt them, but you could have. Because sometimes you need to execute and really hurt that person. Or you need to execute and escape. So, Camila, right here, imagine that she's bigger and stronger than me. And, over here, right here, please. And what she does is she just pushes me down. Good. And hopefully I didn't hit my head. But I fell down, and now I got to get back up. And if I don't know what to do in a situation like this could be very dangerous. I can sit like this, so you can push me right back down. Sometimes I see people, they kind of go like this, and they keep getting pushed down. So this happens. Stressful situation, we need to use a technique to stand up in base and not fall down. Agree, Camila?
Yeah.
So now, this time when she goes to push me down, go ahead. I have base. And I stood up in base. So step back a little bit. This is the first technique that we learn in Jiu-Jitsu. If you need to stand up, if someone's sitting over top of you. Everything else didn't work. She kept pushing me down. If she wanted to, she could knee me, she could punch my face. Step back a little bit, please. But what I did was a technique called standing up in base. And I had my foot just like this, my hand here. And I did this. I lifted my bottom and my leg. When I was ready to go, when she went to push me, I stood up and my hand was right on the mat, my foot was here in base, and I started to lean into her. And now I have a standing base as well. So without anybody on me, all I'm doing is this. And then my hand's the last thing to leave. I have my base. Now, a lot of people, they see this. They've done martial arts. They know how to do this in Jiu-Jitsu. They know how to have the presence of mind to be here with their hands. Step back a little bit, please. In a ready position. And they know they need to stand up. And they know that they have to keep the person here. If the person was over here, we'll move this way a little bit, I would kind of want to move here. So I'm always in position. Very good. But this idea of getting into a connection is really important. Because if you look at this move, I sat in the position, my hand was here, I moved it closer to my hip, this foot was ready to go, I put my weight here, and here I was able to lift up. But every time she went to push me, there was a disconnect here. And then when I stood up in base, she pushed me. But it was too late. And then she's keep pushing me and I have my base. Good. Step back a little bit. But if I'm sitting in base, and I'm sitting here and I'm ready to go, if she puts the weight on my shoulder right now, I have to do things correctly because she's challenging me with more stress. And she's pushing me down. Try to push all your weight. I can't even stand up. I can only stand up when there's space. And it can't be that way. You have to find more of a connection to your technique. So I don't want to only connect when I'm standing and she's pushing me and I'm connecting. And then afterwards I can execute. I can lead her somewhere. I have to find more connection even with the ground. So do it again, please. All your weight. Go ahead. I was able to stand up. So this is a little bit different. Sometimes your connection is going to be invisible. The second time I did it, this is the right way. I went to my base, hand on my knee, hand here, and I moved my hip out even more. And I made this whole part of my body connected to the ground, my whole thigh and my hip. Before, it was just my bottom. See, there was nothing here. This is up or it could be down, but I'm not really using it. And then when Camila pushed into my shoulder, she's pushing my bottom into the mat. I can't stand up. But when I'm ready to do this, I should be able to do this when she's in the open space or when she's pushing my shoulder. So I give myself a better angle and I get more connected. Now she's pushing me. I stand up in base, my hips gets high, and now she can keep pushing me. And now I'm in a position where I can lead her. Keep pushing. Good. And I'm out of here. So you have to get in a position where you're going to either one day leave the table, go outside with your friends, right? Have presence, have positioning, get connected against that big stress, whatever it is in your life, and then lead. Lead your friends to a safer place. Lead yourself into a safer place. Or execute, do something else. You know, maybe hurt the person, maybe control them. Use your martial arts technique. Let's keep going on and on. So, Camila, have a seat, please. Good. I'm a bigger person. She gets to the ready position. In the future, she can use this hand to protect herself. If she wanted to create more space, she can cause a distraction by kicking my knee with this leg here. Very good. Now she has a lot of space to stand up in base. Very good. Have a seat, please. But really, when she gets to this ready position, go ahead, she needs to move her hip out more here and have everything ready to go. Good. Now, if I'm pushing into her with all my weight and she stands up in base, it'll work. Go ahead. Good. I almost fall off. All the way. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. Very nice. And as she stands up in base, she still has base. Lean into me, please. Good. Now you can kind of use your hands here. Yeah. Hands up. Hands up. Very good. Face me a little bit. Very nice. And if you feel this pressure, what would you want to do? Yeah, move out of the way. Let me keep going. And then in a certain way, you've actually taken my spot. And you have more power. So, good? Any questions?
Questions about the girls?
No, questions about, not about the girls, but about the Jiu-Jitsu.
No.
All right, and make sense?
Yeah, you have to move your hips a little bit and connect like the weight, hands,
yes,
and your foot, and do the move.
Right. But this happens a lot. We learn this technique or we forget it, how to do stand up and base, and it's everything. Because then it gets into how to do Jiu-Jitsu in a more profound way, having like more leverage, having more base, having more weight distribution, better leverages, connection, and then sometimes pressure. But that starts getting you down a martial arts journey. My takeaway from this type of presentation is for you just to have a presence of mind first. You know, because you can do this with all martial arts and every aspect of your life. And then after you have a presence and you have your understanding position, how you can position yourself under a stressful situation, under the metaphor of change. To overcome that with technique, you got to get into having some type of connection with the situation, with that position that you're in. And sometimes when you have that connection, you can really feel it so that you can disconnect or connect more or find more connection points so you can really get into the position with someone, something, understand it more, and that will help you lead yourself towards the best action of execution, if it's escape or to turn the tides in your favor. And that's what we need to do in our lives when there's that challenge is accepted. And I even think it's more like you have to test it. You have to learn from it. You know, it's one thing. Oh, I know what to do in that situation. You say, okay, how? Let's see how you can do it. So before, if I knew how to do this move and I did it like this with no connection to the ground, I could keep standing up in base all day. Oh, I know what I'm doing. But the moment Camila puts all her weight on my shoulder, it doesn't work anymore. And I said, well, it only works when you're in the open space, and that's not good enough. I have to put myself in the best position, more connection. Then when she pushes into me, I can still stand up. And again, we always make the assumption, that the problem that's in front of you is much bigger than you. That's why I always said at the beginning, imagine Camila is bigger and stronger than me. Make that assumption in your life so you can make things, when things get really challenging and you put yourself to the test, you can still come out in your favor if you follow these ideas. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you for Camila. Please remember my narrative story, but not too much. Don't start asking about those other things. I'm sure we'll relate to that others. But it was a really cool story. Really happened in my life, and that last night, it's always the last wave, the last night in a country where something crazy happens, and you just gotta, hopefully you don't fall yourself into danger when danger presents itself. And I look back at that, and I always think of when things get really stressful, and it doesn't matter if it's something like that or something like a car accident or something. I always just, by being on the mat all the time and put myself under pressure and testing it, when things really happen, I can just go into action, and I have a really cool, calm, collected mindset. But it's an assertive one where I'm just more hyper aware. And when you think about different aspects of your life, people call, that's just having sensory awareness and having I think that has to come from somewhere. You just don't have it. You have to develop it. And this is what this video is all about. All right, so thank you, Camila.